You have been praying for the wrong thing, not the wrong desire, the wrong thing entirely. You have been asking the law to give you what you want, while quietly, in a room of yourself you do not visit, you have already decided who you are. And the law, which I have watched work without mercy and without exception for over 40 years, does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. So let me say the thing you have arranged your whole life not to hear. It isn't your faith that's failing. Your faith is strong. It's the secret. The one you won't admit you believe about yourself. Sit with me a moment. I am going to speak to you the way I spoke to a young dancer who came up the stairs to my apartment on West 72nd Street in New York in the year 1931, frightened, sincere, and entirely wrong about where his trouble lived. His name was Neville. You may know what he became. You do not yet know what he was when he first stood before me. And what he was, before he was anything, is precisely what you are now. A man certain that the problem was his wanting. A man who believed that if he could only desire harder, picture longer, pray more fervently, the thing would finally come. It would not come, and I will tell you why it would not come for him. Because it is the same reason it has not come for you. Listen to me carefully, because I see you. I see the pattern that brought you to a teaching like this, at a moment like this. You did not arrive here by accident. You have been working, you have been affirming, you have been doing the things the books told you to do, and you have been doing them with a sincerity that would shame most men, and still, the harvest does not match the labor. So you have begun to wonder, quietly, whether something is wrong with you, whether your faith is too weak, whether you are one of the unlucky ones for whom the law simply does not perform. Hear me now. There is nothing wrong with your faith. Your faith is enormous. That is the cruelty of your situation. You have placed a vast and powerful faith in the wrong man, not another person. The wrong version of yourself, the man you secretly believe you are. Let me name the pattern with precision, because until it is named you cannot revise it. You have been affirming outwardly while confessing inwardly. You say, with your lips and your conscious will, I am wealthy. And somewhere beneath that sentence, in a register so quiet you have trained yourself not to hear it, another voice finishes the thought. For someone like me, you say, I am loved. And beneath it, but not the way other people are, you say, it is done. And beneath it, a small, ancient, settled certainty murmurs. But not for you. It never quite works out for you. That second voice is the one the law obeys. You have mistaken effort for faith. This is the great error, and almost no one escapes it. The very straining, the repetition, the intensity, the white-knuckled visualizing, is itself the confession. A man does not strain to claim what he already knows is his. You do not wake in the morning and fight to believe the sun will rise. You do not affirm 100 times that your name is your name. The things you truly accept require no insistence. So when you find yourself insisting, understand what the insistence is telling you. It is telling you that beneath the words, you do not yet believe. And here is what I need you to receive, because it will lift a weight from you that you have carried for years. You have not been lazy. You have not been faithless. You have been faithful, perfectly, devotedly faithful, to the wrong man, the man you secretly believe you are. The law has never once failed you. It has been obeying you flawlessly. It has simply been obeying the deeper instruction, the one you did not know you were giving. Neville wrote of this years later, after I was long gone from his daily life. He said the world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself. He learned that from me, in that apartment, the hard way, the slow way. Over 5 years of evenings I spent unteaching him everything he thought he knew. And the first thing I had to unteach him was the belief that his problem was his desire. Let me take you back to that winter. It was cold in the city, the way New York is cold, the wind coming up the avenues like it has somewhere to be. Neville was young, in his 20s, a dancer with very little money, and he wanted, with his whole heart, to sail home to Barbados for the holidays, to see his family, to stand again on the island where he was born. He had no money for the passage. The season was nearly upon him, and he came to me convinced, utterly convinced, that the issue was the strength of his wanting. He thought he must want it more, visualize the ship longer, pray with more heat. I let him speak. I let him lay it all out before me, the whole earnest catalogue of his striving. And when he was finished, I did not talk to him about the ship. I did not talk to him about the money, or the season, or the passage. I said to him, "Neville, you are not a poor dancer who wishes to go to Barbados. You are a man in Barbados who has forgotten that he is already there." He did not understand. Of course he did not understand. No one understands this the first time, because it overturns the entire way a man has been taught to seek. He kept returning to the practical problem, the ship, the cost, how on earth it could possibly happen in time. And every time he returned to it, he was confessing the secret sentence that was holding it all in place. The sentence was not, "I want to go to Barbados." The sentence was, "I am the kind of man who cannot afford this." That was the rock everything else was built on. That self-definition, that settled feeling of identity. As long as that sentence stood, no ship would come, not because the law was refusing him, but because the law was obeying him exactly. It was delivering, with perfect fidelity, the harvest of the man he believed himself to be. A man who cannot afford it does not afford it. The world simply crystallized his inner speech. So I gave him the only instruction that matters. I told him to stop wanting Barbados and to begin sleeping in Barbados, not picturing it from the outside like a man looking at a postcard, living it from within. To feel the warmth of the island air on his skin as he fell asleep in his cold New York room, to feel the motion of the deck beneath his feet, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not as a wish anymore, but as a present fact, so ordinary it required no excitement. I told him to sleep as a man already home. He sailed that December. I want you to hear exactly what I am telling you. He did not earn the trip. He did not scrape together the fare through clever effort. A way opened that he could not have engineered. The bridge of incidents arranged itself, as it always does once the inner state is set. His brother arranged it. A door he had not been looking at opened, and he walked through it. He became the man who was already going, and the going took care of itself. Now hear the thing I most need you to hear. Neville's secret belief had nothing to do with Barbados, and yours has nothing to do with the thing you are asking for. Barbados was only the screen onto which his self-concept was projected. The real prison was the sentence, "I am the kind of man who cannot." Change that, and Barbados is nothing. Change that, and the whole outer world rearranges itself to match the new man. Leave it untouched, and you may visualize ships until you die, and no ship will come. So let us speak plainly about the mechanism, because I will not leave you with a beautiful idea and no understanding of how it works. You deserve the law itself, not a poem about the law. There is only one creative power in you, and it is your awareness of being, the I am. Whatever word you marry to that I am becomes the seed from which your world grows. This is not metaphor. This is the most precise thing I will say to you tonight. Your I am is the womb of all creation as it concerns your life. And whatever you join to it, knowingly or unknowingly, in daylight affirmation or in the unguarded muttering of your inner speech, that is what gestates, and that is what is born into your world. Now understand the division of labor within you. Your conscious mind selects, your subconscious produces. The conscious mind is the man who plants. The subconscious is the soil that grows whatever is planted, without judgment, without preference, without mercy. And here is the thing almost no one grasps. The soil does not produce what you wish were planted. It produces what was actually planted. And what is actually planted every hour of every day is your accepted sense of who you are. The subconscious accepts feeling as fact, not words. Feeling. It does not respond to what you claim with your lips. It responds to what you feel is true about yourself in the marrow. And when there is a contradiction between your conscious desire and your felt self-image, when you say, I am abundant, but you feel underneath, I am someone things are scarce for, the felt one wins. It wins every single time. There is no contest. Feeling is the secret. It is not the thing you think. It is the thing you feel. So this secret belief I keep naming, understand what it actually is. It is not a thought. You cannot find it by examining your thoughts, because it lives below your thoughts. It is a settled feeling of identity, a self-definition so deep and so familiar that it does not announce itself. It simply operates. It runs beneath every affirmation, like a current beneath the surface of a river, and it automatically, effortlessly, rejects anything that does not match it. You pour in, I am wealthy, and the current carries it away before it can take root, because the soil has already accepted, I am someone who struggles, and the soil never fails to express what has been impressed upon it. This is why I tell you with the full weight of 40 years, you cannot manifest what you want while remaining who you are. The law is not blocked. Nothing is fighting you. The law is faithfully, obediently, tirelessly delivering the harvest of your hidden self-image. The work, therefore, the only work, is not getting the thing. The work is becoming the one who has it. And that requires you first to find and then to dissolve the secret belief. Neville wrote it as plainly as it can be written. He said, to be transformed, the whole basis of your thoughts must change. But your thoughts cannot change unless you have new ideas, for you think from your ideas. You have been thinking from an old idea of yourself, an idea you did not choose. You inherited it. You absorbed it. And then you spent years building a life on top of it without ever questioning the foundation. Let me show you how that foundation was laid, because if you understand how the secret self was built, you will understand why it can be unbuilt. Your self-concept is not a thing you decided once. It is an accumulation. It is built from unrevised memory, from 1,000 small moments you accepted as evidence of who you are and never went back to correct. The time as a child you reached for something and were told it was not for people like you. The season of lack you lived through and concluded, this is what life is for me. The rejection you absorbed not as an event, but as a verdict. Each of these was a moment you could have revised and did not. And unrevised, they hardened. They settled. They became the rock. When Neville first came to me, he carried the self-concept of his station, a young man from a modest family in Barbados, who had come to New York to dance, and who had quietly accepted that poverty was simply the texture of his life. That was not a thought he had. It was a man he was. His broke years in this city were never a failure of desire. He desired plenty. They were the faithful expression of a felt identity of unworthiness he had inherited and never questioned. He did not lack the wish. He lacked the willingness to believe he was already the man the wish belonged to. And this is the thing about unrevised memory. The subconscious treats it as a standing instruction. Every time you replay a moment of lack without revising it, you replant it. You water the old crop. Most men spend their nights doing exactly this, lying in bed, reviewing the day's evidence against themselves, confirming and reconfirming the very self-concept they are praying to escape. They pray in the morning and confess all night, and then they wonder why nothing changes. So let us begin to uncover the truths that follow from all of this. I will not present them to you like items on a list. We will arrive at them together, the way Neville and I arrived at them, slowly, in that lamp-lit room. Here is the first thing we uncover. Your repeated affirmation is proof you do not yet believe it. Sit with that because it stings, and the sting is the recognition. The thing you affirm most loudly and most often is precisely the thing you are most unsure of. You do not affirm that the sun will rise. You do not stand at your window repeating, "The sun will rise, the sun will rise," with your fists clenched. You simply know it, and the knowing is silent. The subconscious accepts only what is assumed naturally, what is held as a quiet, settled fact. It does not accept what is insisted upon. Insistence is the signature of disbelief. Every repetition, said with strain, is a small announcement to the deeper mind. I do not have this. I do not have this. Still, I do not have this. I knew a man in those years, a man who came to the lectures, who had heard the principle and seized upon affirmation as his tool. He repeated, "I am wealthy," 100 times a day. He told me he did it on the streetcar, at his desk, before he slept. He did it faithfully for a year, and at the end of that year, he was exactly as poor as when he began. He came to me bewildered, almost angry. He had done the work. Why had the law failed him? I told him the law had not failed him. It had heard him precisely. Each time he said, "I am wealthy," from a felt state of lack, the deeper meaning that reached the soil was, "I am a poor man trying to convince himself." And the soil grew that. It grew a poor man trying to convince himself, in perfect abundance. He had affirmed his lack 100 times a day for 365 days. He had been magnificently, tragically consistent. So do not affirm, assume. There is all the difference in the world between the two. To affirm is to argue with your present state. To assume is to rest in a new one. Speak to yourself the way a man speaks who already has the thing and has stopped thinking about it. The wealthy man does not affirm his wealth. He forgets it because it is simply true. Your aim is to reach the forgetting, the ordinariness, the state in which the thing is so settled that it bores you. When your desire bores you, you have arrived. Until then, you are still affirming, which means you are still confessing. Now we uncover the second thing, and it will change how you see every day you have spent waiting. The delay you have been cursing is not resistance from the world, it is loyalty from the law. Nothing out there is fighting you. There is no enemy, no block, no curse, no unworthiness in the eyes of some withholding power. The delay you have experienced is not the law refusing you. It is the law obeying you, perfectly, exactly, without deviation, and obeying the wrong instruction. The subconscious never fails to express that which has been impressed upon it. So the delay is not a mystery, it is fidelity. It is the precise, mathematical outpicturing of the self you have been holding. The world has been so faithful to your secret sentence that you mistook its faithfulness for opposition. Think again of Neville and the ship. The ship could not come, and I put that word in the air carefully. Could not come, while the sentence, "I cannot afford this," stood at the center of him. The world was not withholding the ship out of cruelty. The world was reflecting, with the obedience of a mirror, a man who could not afford it. The instant the self-sentence changed, the instant he slept as a man already home, the ship came effortlessly, not through strain, through the natural bridge of incidents that always arranges itself once the inner state is fixed. The delay had never been about the ship. The delay had always been the law's loyalty to the old man. So stop trying to push harder against the world. There is no wall to push against. Turn your attention inward and find the sentence that says, "Not for me." That sentence is the only obstacle. It was never the economy, never the timing, never your age or your past or your circumstances. It was one quiet sentence of self-definition, and the entire visible world has been rearranging itself to keep that sentence true. Find it. That is the work of tonight. And now we uncover the third thing, which Neville took years to fully receive, and which I will give you in a single breath. You cannot want and be at the same time. Desire and possession are two different states, and you cannot occupy both at once. As long as you are wanting the thing, you are broadcasting, in the only language the subconscious understands, that you do not have it. Wanting is a confession of absence. Every moment spent in longing is a moment spent affirming the gap between you and your desire. The man who wants money is rehearsing the absence of money. The man who wants love is rehearsing its lack, and the soil grows the rehearsal. The dancer who wanted Barbados kept Barbados at a distance precisely by wanting it. His wanting was a fence he built around the island and then stood outside of. The moment he stopped wanting and began being, the moment he became in feeling the man who was already there, the fence dissolved because there was no longer anyone standing outside of it. Living from the end means exactly this. You assume the feeling of already being it, and from that feeling you let the world catch up. You do not move toward the end. You move from it. I will give you another, that you may see it is not only Neville. There was a woman who came to the lectures in those years, a teacher, who longed to be married. She wanted it with a desperation that filled the room when she spoke of it. And the more she wanted it, the more the years passed her by. I told her what I am telling you. Stop wanting the husband. Become the wife. Sleep each night not as a woman hoping to be chosen, but as a woman already wed. Feel the ring as an ordinary weight on the hand. Feel the ordinary presence of another in the home, until it is no longer thrilling but simply real. She did this. She moved from the language of wanting into the silence of having. And within the year she was married, not to a man she chased, but to one who arrived, because she had become the one to whom such a man belongs. So move out of wanting, move into the quiet of having. The silence of "it is mine" is louder to the subconscious than any shout of "I want." Now, I have shown you the secret belief, how to find it, why it rules you, how it was built from the unrevised record of your days, and how it dissolves the moment you change the self you assume. But I must be honest with you, the way I was honest with Neville, because half a truth would be no gift at all. Finding the secret belief is only the beginning. Revising who you believe you are is not done in the daylight with effort and clenched will. It is done at night, in a precise sequence. The same sequence I gave Neville before I gave him anything else. There are 4 movements to the nightly work, and they must be done in order, because each prepares the ground for the next. The first is revision. This is the clearing of the soil, the removal of the day's evidence against you, the correcting of those moments that would otherwise be planted in your sleep as confirmations of the old self. Without this, every other movement is sown into contaminated ground. The second is the correction of inner speech. All day long, a silent voice within you has been instructing the subconscious, narrating, judging, confessing your unworthiness without your permission. Until that voice is governed, it undoes by day what you build by night. The third is precise scene construction, not vague, drifting picturing. A single scene built with exactness, implying that the wish is already fulfilled, a scene you can enter and feel, a scene that would only be true if the thing were already done. And the fourth is falling asleep inside the state. This is the transfer itself, the moment consciousness crosses the threshold of sleep while inhabiting the new self, and the new self is impressed upon the deeper mind. This is the door. Sleep is the door through which the conscious passes the subconscious. Now hear me. Most of you are doing one of these, perhaps two. You construct a scene, or you affirm a feeling, and then you wonder why the results come and go like weather. Bright for a few days, then gone. The feeling faded by morning. It fades because the sequence was never completed. You are building a house on a lot you cleared once and never returned to. You laid a scene on top of an unrevised day, and the unrevised day rose up in the night and erased it. The subconscious received a partial instruction, and partial instructions produce partial results. That inconsistency you have suffered is not a mystery, and it is not a flaw in you. It is the sequence, broken. So I have prepared something for you, a written guide. I have called it Rewrite Tonight, and it teaches the first movement in full, not a summary of what I have said here. The complete 3-minute pre-sleep revision protocol, the very clearing I gave Neville before Barbados, before any of it. It shows you how to choose the 3 moments from your day that are poisoning your sleep. For it is always a small number of moments, and they are not always the ones you would expect. It shows you how to revise each one, in order, so the subconscious carries a clean record into the night, and it shows you how to feel the clearing, not think it, feel it, because it is the felt clearing that lets every other movement actually reach the deeper mind. This is the foundation. It is free, it is immediate, and nothing else you do at night will hold until this is done first. And for those of you who feel it already, who know, even now, that the clearing alone will not be enough, that you are ready for the full transfer, the complete sequence exists as well. 7 nights, all 4 movements, guided step by step, in the exact order I gave Neville in the winter of 1933. You will find it waiting after you receive the guide, but do not reach for that yet. Start with the clearing. Start with the soil. Start tonight. Comment the word reset below this video. Not as a comment, as a declaration. You are done lying down at night, carrying the weight of an unrevised day. You are done planting seeds in poisoned soil. You are done practicing in the wrong order, cleaning the surface while the foundation stays dirty. Comment reset, and I will send you the guide personally. Now let me give you the heart of the work to do this very night, so that you do not leave here with understanding alone, but with a practice in your hands. Tonight, before sleep, lie still. Let your body grow heavy. Enter that drowsy, in-between state, the state akin to sleep, where the body is asleep, but you remain barely, gently aware. This is the state in which the deeper mind is open, when the guard of the conscious mind has loosened. This is where all real impression happens. Do not picture the thing you want. I want you to resist that old habit entirely tonight. Instead, listen. Go quiet and listen for the sentence. the secret sentence. Let it begin. I am the kind of person who, and let it finish itself honestly, without your editing it. Let it surface. It may sting when it comes. The sting is how you know you have found it. I am the kind of person who never quite gets there. I am the kind of person things don't work out for. I am the kind of person who has to struggle for everything. Whatever it is, let it show its face. You cannot revise what you will not look at. Then, and this is the whole of it, revise the sentence, not the circumstance, the sentence. Replace it with the felt identity of the one who naturally has your desire. Speak the new self inwardly. I am the kind of person for whom things open easily. I am the kind of person who is provided for. And here is the test of it. Say it until it feels ordinary, not exciting, ordinary. Excitement is the proof you do not yet believe. Ordinariness is the proof that the new self has been accepted. Repeat it gently until it loses its charge, until it is as unremarkable as your own name, and then fall asleep inside it. Carry one short phrase across the threshold of sleep, a phrase that implies the thing is already done. Isn't it wonderful? It's already mine. Let that be the last motion of your mind as you cross over. Let the new man be the one who falls asleep. For the man who falls asleep is the man who wakes, and the man who wakes is the man the world will reflect. I have given you the heart of the first movement here in your hands tonight. The guide gives you the full 3-minute form, the 3 moments to choose, the order in which to revise them, the precise way to feel the clearing so it reaches the deep. If you have not yet commented reset, do it now, before you sleep, while you are still the one who is ready. Readiness, too, is a state, and like all states it passes if you do not act from within it. Now let me speak to the waiting you have done, the silence, the long stretches where nothing seemed to move and you began to wonder whether you had been forgotten. You were not being refused. You were never being refused. The silence you have been cursing was the law clearing its throat. It was the deeper mind doing its faithful work upon the old self, completing the harvest already planted before it could turn to the new seed. The law cannot serve 2 masters in a single field. It must finish with the old man before it can deliver to the new one. So the waiting was never punishment. It was preparation. It was the law, with infinite patience, waiting for you to change the name you answer to. The moment you change it, the silence ends, not because the law relented, but because you finally gave it a new instruction worth obeying. So I will tell you what is coming, and I want you to keep these words, because there will be a night when you return to them and find they were written for you precisely. One day soon, the thing will arrive so quietly you will almost miss it. There will be no thunder. There will be no proof that you can hold up to anyone. It will simply be there, as ordinary as if it had always been there. And you will remember this night, this exact moment, as the night you stopped trying to receive it and finally became the one it was always meant for. You will look back and understand that nothing ever came to you. It came through you, out of the man you dared to assume yourself to be. That is the whole of the law, and it is the whole of the promise. But there is a deeper layer, the second movement I name to you tonight, and I will leave you standing at its door, because revising the self at night is only half of the work. The other half happens all day long, in a voice you do not even know you are using. In the next teaching, I will show you the silent inner conversations that have been instructing your subconscious every waking hour. The words you say to yourself when you believe no one, not even you, is listening. That inner speech has been writing your world more steadily than any nightly practice ever could, because it never stops. Master that. Govern that voice, and the night work becomes unstoppable. The two together are how Neville stopped being a broke dancer and became the man the world remembers. But that is for the next time we sit together. Tonight, clear the soil. Tonight, find the sentence. Tonight, become the one it was always meant for.